Hello, my friends. We're back again. Let's have a conversation with the wynne, shall we?
Irving told me about how you became a Grey Warden, and that unpleasant incident that occurred prior to your departure from the Circle.
You're talking about Joan?
None other. I respect the decision you made, and the way you handled it. And it did not seem to affect Duncan's desire to recruit you. But that aside, you're a Grey Warden now, and perhaps I presume too much by saying this, but the Circle is proud of you.
I wonder what Irving saw in me that made him recommend me.
Do not squander this time trying to explain why Irving picked you. Accept it, and be the Grey Warden you're supposed to be. Sometimes it gives me comfort to think that everything will end up the way it's supposed to. That it will be all right.
Yeah, it glitched out again. She's trying to say I survived the joining when others didn't. To the camp.
The Blight. How will you end it?
Oh, not again. He always asks me questions about the blight. We have to fight the archdemon.
Is that all? It is surrounded by an ocean of darkspawn. How will you reach it? If you reach it, how will you slay it? You say you are a Grey Warden. I have heard stories of this order.
What have you heard?
Great strategists and peerless warriors. That is what we hear of the Wardens. So far, I am not impressed.
What, you think you could do better?
Yes. You called. Speak, then.
You said something earlier about mages.
We have no mages such as you do. We have beasts in the shape of men who perform tricks.
Magic is more than tricks.
True. I suppose it is also horror and perversion.
Magic's not entirely evil, you know.
As a fish stranded by the tide knows the air, or a drowning man knows the sea, so does a mage know magic.
What do fish have to do with this?
Parshera, are we going to fight the Darkspawn, or chatter until they grow bored and...
Let's go. He didn't seem to want to talk. You have anything to say?
Well, aren't you sweet and attentive?
Thank you, but I'm not in the mood for flirting with making out with you right now. Let's talk to Wynne.
Oh, it's been a long day. Rest would be welcome.
Are you alright?
Yes, of course. I am just a little weary. As you may have noticed, I'm no spring chicken.
No, you're a person.
Ha, very funny. But in all honesty, I do not know how many years I have left in me. I have lived for such a long time, but there is always something else to do. And I have to keep going in order to do it. I think I will be glad when I am done.
Surely you'll be kicking around for a few years.
Oh, I don't know. I really don't.
Talk to her again.
Have you encountered many abominations, apart from the ones in the Circle Tower?
Well, there was Connor.
Ah, yes, Connor, of course. The first time I saw an abomination, my blood turned to ice. It was months before the nightmares stopped. It was the knowledge that I could easily become one of them that frightened me the most.
You're a great mage. You would never become an abomination.
Every mage is vulnerable, no matter how accomplished or powerful. That is the first thing we learn, and overconfidence can lead to recklessness. One slip. All it takes is one slip, and everything you are is simply gone, replaced by madness. And there is no turning back, or at least that's what they say.
You have doubts?
Of late, I have begun to wonder if there is any way an abomination can be cured. Or if a mage could be so possessed and still retain their sanity, their humanity.
If one retains one's humanity, one is not an abomination.
Yes, it is madness and cruelty that define abominations. If those are lacking, if the mage remembers the person they truly are, then they are not an abomination. I never saw that. Thank you for showing me another way of looking at it.
Alright. Talk to her again.
I must ask, what does being a Grey Warden mean to you?
It means I've been chosen to do something very important.
There's that, of course. But there's more to being a Grey Warden than killing Darkspawn and saving the world from the Blight. Ultimately, being a Grey Warden is about serving others. About serving all people, whether elves or dwarves or men.
You mean to say I serve as a protector?
As a Grey Warden, you are a guardian of men. And you guard them because their continued existence is more important than you are. Thus it is you who serves, not they.
I'll keep that in mind.
A good king, a true king who cares for his land, uses his power to rule firmly but fairly. He serves his people first and foremost. The king who does not do this, who believes that he is entitled to his power, who abuses it and uses it for his own means, is a tyrant.
So in a way, having power confines you.
If you live apart from others, and your actions affect only you, then you may do as you wish. But if you have power, influence, and strength, your every action will be as a drop of water in a clear, still pond. The drop causes ripples, and ripples spread. Think of how far they will go, how wide they will become, how will they affect the pond. But I've lectured enough for today. I should stop before I wear out my welcome.
Alright, talk to her again.
You're quite taken with each other, aren't you?
Oh, you know about Liliana and me?
I've seen the way she looks at you, the familiarity with which you speak, how she always finds a way to place herself next to you.
I like being with Liliana.
I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. Liliana is a remarkable girl, sincere and guileless, and she has opened her heart to you. I would not like to see her hurt.
I would never hurt Liliana.
Not intentionally, no. But there is great potential for tragedy here. For one or both of you. You are a Grey Warden. You have responsibilities which supersede your personal desires.
I'm a human being with emotions. I'm not a freaking tranquil. I'm not just a Grey Warden. I'm a human being with emotions.
Love is ultimately selfish.
It is not.
It demands that one be devoted to a single person.
Now you're
who
sounding
may
like
fully
Morgan.
occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else. A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do?
What am I supposed to do? Tell Liliana go away?
You may have to save one or both of you unnecessary anguish later on.
I'm not giving up what we have, no matter what you say.
I have given my advice. Do with it what you will.
Now she's starting to act like Morgan.
What's on your mind?
Have you changed your mind about Liliana and me?
I have watched you for a time, and perhaps I was wrong. There seems to be something special between the two of you. I think she feels she's truly found her place with you. That after all her wanderings, she's finally home.
I feel the same way.
I think I was too harsh in my judgment before, and I am sorry.
Apology accepted.
What you have may not last forever. Death and duty may part you, but love's worthiness is not diminished because of that. I should have seen this before. Instead, you learn to cherish every precious moment that you spend together, knowing that it may be the last. And for those of us watching, well, it brings warmth to these old bones to know that something so beautiful can be found in the midst of chaos and strife.
Thank you, Wynne.
What's on your mind?
Are you feeling better now?
Oh, Yes, and thank you for asking. I'm feeling much better today.
I like making sure all my companions are well.
Well, thank you for your kindness, my dear. It certainly warms these rickety old bones.
Alright, keep talking.
What's on your mind?
I was just thinking about being a Grey Warden.
Is something troubling you?
I don't know, it's just difficult sometimes.
You are one of the 2 surviving Grey Wardens in Ferelden. You defend all of us, and much rests on your shoulders. It may not mean much to you, but thank you for having the courage to continue to fight.
I will be ready when the time comes.
And that gives me hope.
Keep talking, I'm starting to love
Have
this
you
approval.
heard much about the Grey Wardens of old?
I knew they were more respected in the old days.
It was said that watching the Wardens ride in on their white griffins was enough to rouse a weary heart and put the dance back in the step of an old man. The Grey Wardens were powerful, feared and respected, but they also inspired the common people. I remember a tale that was told to me many years ago.
Go on.
The Blight had ravaged the land for months, and the armies of the great kings had amassed for one last stand. As the sun burst through the clouds that boiled and churned in the dark sky above, it illuminated a vast, seething horde of darkspawn, with the archdemon at its head. And it was then, when courage seemed to fail, and all lost to death and despair, that the Grey Wardens came. They arrived with the beating of wings like mighty war drums, and stood before the armies of men.
Griffins?
Yes, griffins. Now listen to the rest of the story. The Grey Wardens, grim and fearless, marched forth, ever between the men and the encroaching darkspawn. They formed a shield of their own bodies and held that line until the archdemon was dead, and the last darkspawn lay trampled in the dirt. And then, demanding neither reward nor recognition for their sacrifice, the Grey Wardens departed. When the clouds finally rolled back, and the sun shone full upon the blighted ground, the great kings knew that they had lost no men, and none of their blood had been spilled.
I like happy endings.
This is a tale about no battle the Grey Wardens have fought, and yet about them all. They have always defended us from the Darkspawn, taking losses so we do not have to. People may have forgotten over the centuries, but nothing has changed. This knowledge has been blessing and burden to Grey Wardens past, and now it shall be your blessing and your burden.
More approval, I'm starting.
What's on your mind?
I'm starting to love this. As a Grey Warden, I'll never lead a normal life, will I?
No, you won't.
And that makes me sad.
You wonder sometimes, don't you? If your life would be better if you weren't who you are.
A little.
When I was a young woman in the tower, I came to the realization that the circle would be my life, and I would know no other. Family, love, a simple life. These were things that others took for granted, that I would never have.
And this upsets you?
It made me very moody. All I could think of was being trapped in that tower with no way out and no end in sight. I started hating my life and myself, and one night I found myself in the tower's chapel. I was seeking refuge, maybe answers.
Find anything?
I must have looked tearful or made some noise, because the revered mother came out and decided to speak to me. And because I had no one else to talk to, I talked to her. I must have said many silly things, but she told me that the Maker puts us all on our paths for a reason, and fighting our intended course is what causes so much anguish.
And that made you feel better?
I thought the old biddy was full of rubbish. I was 15, maybe 16, and I knew everything. So I left, but I always found my way back to that chapel. And as the years passed, I began to see the truth of her words. We were supposed to be polar opposites, mage and priest. But we weren't. there was much about us that was the same.
I suppose priests have to give up a lot too.
The revered mother had lived in the chantry all her life, as I had been in the tower for all of mine. She taught me that you can find your family in the people around you, that you can love your work and find fulfillment in duty. And there is joy even in self-sacrifice. If you put others before yourself, then their well-being is yours, and their happiness is your happiness.
That doesn't sound healthy.
It isn't healthy to throw yourself at a pack of darkspawn either in order to save the world. So I'd say you're in no position to judge. You can scream and cry and be angry about life as a Grey Warden. Or you can accept it and allow yourself to see the good in it. This is your choice.
Alright, save and see you in the next part.